Hi, welcome to WakeTV. I'm your host, Taylor Shaw. Summer's coming to an end and students will be back in school soon, but there's so many things happening here at Wake County. Stay tuned. Each summer, many children who depend on school meals are put at risk for hunger. That's where our summer meals program comes in. Here's Leah Holdren with more.
Welcome back. I'm Leah Holdren, and I'm here with Sydney Mirop with the Wake County Extension Center to talk a little bit about the summer meals program and the news conference and kickoff that we just wrapped up. Sydney, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So can you tell everyone a little bit about what Summer Meals is and what that entails for the kids in our community?
Yeah, so Summer Meals, it's a USDA program. It's across the country. Kids can go during the summer when school is out and get a free meal. They don't have to be signed up or anything. They can just show up, 18 and under, get a meal, eat. A lot of times there's activities and fun things for the kids to do as well. And there's sites throughout the county.
And we just wrapped up a news conference and our official kickoff for Summer Meals 2023. Who are some of the partners that are involved in Summer Meals?
So some of the partners involved in Summer Meals are Child Nutrition Services with Wake County Public Schools, the Food Bank of Central and Eastern North Carolina. There's a church, Kirk of Kildare Presbyterian. They all provide meals for different churches around the county, churches and community sites. But then we have tons of partners that are involved, a lot of faith groups. City of Raleigh Parks also has quite a few sites, the town of Wendell. So it's a big group.
Yeah, so if someone was interested in learning more about where they could get a meal for their child, where would they go to learn more?
The best place to go would be wake.gov/summerfood. You can also text food and find a site via text message in Spanish or English.
And I know this obviously takes a lot of people to make it work. You mentioned the partners, lots of sites throughout the community so that we can make sure that we reach every corner of Wake County. If someone was interested in becoming a partner, how would they do that? And how would you help them get that set up?
Yeah, we always need partners. We need partners that are willing to have a site to feed kids, that are interested in perhaps opening a site in a neighborhood where they just pop up a tent and the kids come out. We need partners to help bring children to these sites. If there are folks that are interested in doing that, they can reach out to me or they can find my contact information and more information on the overall program at wake.gov/summerfood.
All right, well, thank you, Sydney. I know all of the kids and families in Wake County are happy to have this service, and so thank you for talking with us.
Absolutely, thanks for having me.
Fire, out, hit, ho! On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, boom! Everybody feel good?
Sir, yes, sir!
Where are we?
Wake County, sir!
Who are we?
Wake County Academy 14, sir!
What are we planning to do?
Make Wake County a better place to work, live, and play, sir! Woo!
Academy 14 got fear?
There's nothing to fear but fear itself. Academy 14 got no fear, sir!
Pass! Hooray! Pass!
And we're back. I'm here with Daryl Alford. He is the Director of Fire Services and Emergency Management here in Wake County. And we're going to learn a little bit more about fire services, what it is, what they do, and the Fire Academy. So Daryl, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yes, thank you. Very, very glad to be here.
Awesome. Great to have you here. Yes. All right, so first question. Can you explain how the Fire Tax District works and its role in supporting fire services in the county?
I sure can. First, Wake County is kind of unique. There's only one or two more in the state of North Carolina that have a single fire tax district. Most counties utilize their fire department single insurance district as their taxing district, and they have a board that asks the Board of Commissioners for taxing authority within that, and they set their own rates. So you could have, and I'm going to use names from our county, but you could have a Hopkins who had to assess a rate of 15 cents per $100 to achieve what they needed as a budget, and then another fire department like a Durham Highway who only needed 8 cents. So it's disparities across counties when they do that. In Wake County, back in the late 90s, early 2000s, our board wanted for people to receive the same level of service no matter the zip code. And the only way to do that was to create a single fire tax district where budgets are submitted to the county, just like an internal department. We vet those budgets. We do capital replacements. We do operational things like that. So it's a single tax levy for the unincorporated parts of the county that is then divvied out for the departments based on their budgetary needs.
Got it. Okay, thank you. And so how many fire departments operate within this fire tax district, and how do they collaborate to ensure effective emergency response?
So it's 17 fire departments within the fire tax district. Now, Cary and Raleigh, we really don't consider them part of the fire tax district, but they do play vital roles. Cary covers a little bit of a district, but they do their own capital replacements and other things like that. It's basically a charge by call type concept. Raleigh Fire Department covers the old Wake New Hope Station 1 district by contract for doing first in auto aid. Even though it's still Wake New Hope's district, Raleigh Fire Department covers that for a certain charge per year. It's not based on per call. The other 17 have their own separate insurance districts. Again, 17 departments, A to Z, Apex to Zebulon, again, everybody but Raleigh and Cary.
Got it. Thank you.
Collaboration,
Yeah.
they all run auto aid. So you hear people talking about mutual aid and auto aid. Auto aid means that if there's a run card built in for every type call in the 911 center in their computer-aided dispatch system, depending on what that call is, depending on what units are sent. We use closest unit response based on automatic vehicle location. So it doesn't matter if the call's in Wendell's district. If it's closer to the Zebulon station based on where actual units are, Zebulon will come on that call as well as Wendell. So they all collaborate with auto aid and mutual aid, and again, dispatch by closest actual unit response, which is by far the best for the citizen.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about some of these successes that you've had.
Sure. We actually completed a couple of years ago a plan. We call it the Long Range Plan Standards and Guiding Principles. So never before have we had data-driven metrics that help drive decisions. So what this was, we let all the fire chiefs do, and instead of hiring an independent agency to come into Wake County and look and tell us what we needed to do, we brought in a few experts and then let the fire chiefs kind of guide and look at best practices based on National Fire Protection Association and the Center for Public Safety Excellence, we call CPSE. So we looked at that and we kind of chose an area in the middle between a city standard and then a rural standard, because really Wake County is kind of a blend. You have some areas like Garner who actually probably should get a city or suburban response. Then you go out to a Hopkins and you're in a much rural area and your rural response. So we chose a 7-minute response time. And let me tell you how we got there. We did a survey, communications here helped us with a survey. We did an informational video on how long it takes to process calls, how long it takes for the firefighters to quit what they're doing at the station, like general maintenance, and get in a truck and leave. And then, so we actually measure actual travel time. And we let the citizens say, if you could pick what the actual travel time is based on what you know now from 911 processing time and getting out of the station, how long should it take? Well, most everybody chose the easy answer of 5 minutes. But when we looked at everything else in there, where stations were located and other things, we came up with a 7-minute travel time. So twice a year, we run reports that give us data-driven indicators of actual calls on how long it's taken for these fire departments to get there. And if we have an area that continuously shows that it's taken over 7 minutes, then we need to take that data and look at putting another station there, because obviously they can't get there in that amount of time. We throw out concurrent calls. We throw out high traffic volume times, and we throw out calls where they're asked to stage by law enforcement. Maybe it's, an event where law enforcement needs to get there first. So we kind of scrub it out and make sure we're looking at true value in the incidents and get that. Another thing we measure out of that is we ask the chiefs is, what is the proper amount of people to work on a structure fire? If you have a structure fire where lines are deployed, you have flames showing, and people are going to actually go in and do work, how many people need to be there? And we come up with 16. And we actually use SIPC numbers and again, NFPA numbers. So those 16 people need to be there within 12 minutes of the first arriving unit. So we look at all that data, and when you look at the people like that, so maybe the units are getting there within 7 minutes, but the amount of people aren't getting there in the right amount of time, then we need to up staff at some stations. So again, that is probably the biggest win that I can think of in the last 5 years, is actually having a plan that's data driven, that drives stations and staffing needs.
Absolutely. And the data, like you said, the data,
Yep.
it's there so we can track it. So
Yes, ma'am.
yes, 7 minutes. As the county experiences rapid growth, what challenges do fire services face?
I think it's that, we still have a high input of volunteerism here in Wake County. Volunteers, they supplement all our fire departments. So we fund 3 per station, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Well, obviously, it takes more than 3 people to run some calls. Even with auto aid coming from 3 or 4 stations, you need those extra volunteers that come in and backfill the station if they're on that call for a secondary call, or they come in and help fight this fire when we don't about 12 people there, and maybe we needed 18 or 20 because of like heat, just like today. So balancing trying to keep volunteers engaged and meeting those data-driven items we just talked about is one of the challenges we're facing. Another challenge is inflation. I mean, the rapid growth, our fire trucks have gone from in the neighborhood of $600,000 to almost $1 million in 5 years. The price of turnout gear has gone up significantly. Making sure we keep our firefighters safe, with making sure they have the best turnout gear that prevents cancer. As you may have saw in the news lately, we're outfitting all of our staffed firemen with bulletproof vests. We don't want to be the county that says we should have done this, we were late to the game. We're taking measures to get out in front of that.
Mm-hmm. And so with the rapid growth, the challenges you just mentioned, how is the department partnering with municipalities to address some of these challenges?
That is a great question. We can't do anything without our partners, our municipal partners. We have cost share departments, so the county funds a part of their budget, and then the municipals fund a part of their budget. So think about all the towns, again, without Raleigh and Cary. When you say Apex pays a significant part of their fire department budget, and the county pays the other part. There's a lot of formulas that I won't get into to how we get there, but basically it goes into how many people live in the district in comparison to Apex Town, Apex Rural, how many calls occur within Apex Town, Apex Rural. We use data like that to determine what is the right cost share amount. And I can't remember Apex's, but since we're talking about them, let's say that their budget is $5 million, and that's light for them, but $5 million, maybe the county puts in $1 million because a fifth of all those numbers we just talked about are county numbers, and the other part is Apex numbers. So that's how we determine the cost share budget. So all of our municipals pay a portion of the fire department's budgets. Again, we have capital programs where we use national standards for, when should we replace a fire truck? Obviously you can't replace $1 million truck every 5 years. So it's we use NFPA standards. When should you replace turnout gear, thermal imaging cameras, all that stuff.
So the national staffing shortage has been a concern for fire departments nationwide. How has this shortage impacted fire services in Wake County, and what measures are being taken to address it? Sure,
that is a great question. And this kind of happened all on the heels of COVID as that rolled out, and EMS workers were leaving, taking higher paying jobs in healthcare fields. Some firemen were leaving, going to other fire departments for higher paying jobs, or doing some work in EMS because they were having to pay more. So we saw that as an opportunity to look at different ways that we were doing things. Are we recruiting right? Are we getting messaging out? Are we hitting all the areas of the community? So in using some ARPA funds and putting together a plan, we created a career in a year program and started recruiting different. And we used all of our partners. We used Wake County HR. I didn't know anything about recruiting. That's their specialty. So Wake County HR helped us. Wake County Communications. Wake County Communications has a big net, a much larger net than we do with internal and with all the fire departments. we talked to EMS. EMS has had a good strategy for recruiting the right way for years. So we talked with them. We talked to other jurisdictions. And we put together this plan with multiple partners called A Career in a Year. And it has been very, very successful. We actually looked at diversity too. Wake County was woefully behind in having a diverse group of firefighters to serve the community. We want our fire departments to mirror the community that they serve. So we looked at that, and again, we were woefully behind. So we changed our recruitment strategies. Again, trying to connect all those using radio stations. And again, it was we were very blessed that the county commissioners give us ARPA funds to do that with, and we created a plan that actually will work over the next 2 or 3 years for actually getting more firefighters trained and on a pipeline ready to go to work and diversifying the workforce.
I want to talk a little bit more about this Career in the Year. Love the name.
Yes.
Very catchy. So how does this program differ from how the Fire Academy has traditionally operated?
So traditionally, this past year was the 14th Fire Academy. The 13 before that were non-paid academies. So if you're and I'm just being honest, the way that fire bunch most time recruit was by mouth. You know, if I knew that my cousin over there was getting ready to graduate high school, I said, hey, won't you be a volunteer firefighter? Well, as they start volunteering, they like what they see there, and then they go to this academy, and it's just kind of been that way the whole time. But it's non-paid, so you had to have, either parents who were looking out for you or a spouse that was looking out for you and taking care of all the bills while you go for 38 weeks of training to get certified as an EMT and as a firefighter in hopes that you would get a job, in hopes that there will be a job opening when you got out. So that is the difference. As well as this last academy, Academy 14, was paid, and it was the largest. It was 38 strong, and it was the most diverse that, again, we have ever had. And all that goes back to our partnership with Wake Tech, partnership with our internal Wake County departments and the board and the manager's office, all supporting this Career in a Year program and creating this pipeline of trained firefighters.
Absolutely. And so you mentioned diversity, and that's, very critical. What are some of the other efforts that are being made to promote diversity within the department?
It's changing the culture. So again, Wake County HR and our DEI department with Danya met with some diverse members of the fire service and talked about what it was like, living at the stations. These guys and gals spend a third of their life at a fire station if they're working 24-hour shifts, because it's 24-hour shift and it's 3 shifts. So that's a lot of time at a fire station. That's why we talk about fire being a family. You got to be if you're going to live with somebody that long. So they met with those individuals and say, what challenges are you facing? What is it like to be at the fire station? If you could change some things, what could you do? Well, they took all that information and put it back and went and met with the chiefs and said, here's what your folks are saying. Nobody knew who was in the room. The only people in the room for that meeting were those people in Wake County HR and Danya. I wasn't in the room. None of the chiefs were in the room. So it was kind of a speak freely. So they took that information. We went back and we had a work session with the fire chiefs and talked about ways to improve the culture of embracing, maybe changing some standard operating guidelines and procedures that were in place where you had to live within a certain district to be on the fire department. And the fire chiefs all embraced it. I think they knew that this was the right thing to do to make their fire department more mirror the community they serve, as well as get an opportunity to get a pipeline of trained firefighters to be able to step right in. Mm-hmm. So it was a win-win.
Absolutely. And like you said, making sure that the community and the department mirrors each other.
That's right.
Can you talk a little bit more about some more results? I know you mentioned the Fire Academy, but any more results as it relates to diversity within the department?
Again, so we're actually in the interview stages of our second academy right now. And I haven't really drilled down in the numbers yet, but from the surface, it appears that we have a more diverse candidate pool this time than we even had before. And looking at the folks that have made it to the interview stage, we could be in better shape than we were last time. Not know for sure yet, but on the surface it appears that way. So we're very happy about that. Very happy, and we took things that from the last program, learned from them, moved them forward, and I think it's paying dividends. Everybody's excited.
Awesome. We're looking forward to seeing Academy number 15.
Yes.
let's talk a little bit about outreach. And it plays a significant role in informing the community about fire services and careers within the department. Can you share a little bit more about outreach initiatives within fire services?
Within fire services, it's hard because we don't, again, we're internal. We kind of, real high level managing, really hands off of what they do day to day. They have a fire chief and people that do that, but we help them when possible advertise for jobs. We encourage them to make sure that they're not having their public safety educational days in the same place each year. It's for a long time, most fire departments would use the same shopping center or use their fire station every year to do their one event that they do. Well, we're encouraging them now to go to all parts of your community. Go to, to the community center here or the park here or there, so you're reaching all parts of the community. On the emergency management side, we haven't talked to any about emergency management today, but on the emergency management side, Autumn Goheen, our outreach coordinator, just got finished with a Hurricane Academy, Hurricane Academy, where they had a group of high school females go through an academy and learn about what emergency management does, what it's like to be in a command post as part of a search, whether it's a search for somebody missing in a field or drowning or something like that. Very successful camp. They had a number of young ladies who attended, and I'm very proud of the work of Autumn and all of our emergency management staff and our partners actually in Orange and Durham County and the other surrounding counties as well as the state who supported this program. Very, very nice job by her.
Awesome. That sounds great.
Yes.
Hurricane.
Love
it. Hurricane. Love it. Love it. So if you, let's pretend I have a crystal ball right here in my hand. If you could look into the future, what are the priorities and future goals for
That is a great question. I think the crystal ball, first I'm gonna call them opportunities. Okay. There are opportunities and challenges, but with our 17 fire departments, there are 40 plus fire stations. Probably over half of those fire stations are well over 40 years in age. And they were built as volunteer fire department fire stations, which means that they probably weren't built for dual station occupancy for sleeping quarters. And as you get on the backside of COVID, nobody wants to share a bed anymore. We call it hot bunking. You don't want me to take my sheets off when you come in and put your sheets on the same bed. Everybody kind of likes to have their own bed. So when we look at that, that is a challenge is how do we fund station upfits and replacements in very, very aging stations over the next years with the funding limits that we have here within the county. I think that's probably the biggest challenge. The next, again, is the volunteer and professional balance that you try to do. Because as you add more professional full-time people, your volunteers tend to dwindle away because they don't feel valued anymore. So that is a fine balance in working with that. Next, I'm just looking forward to. I look forward to the challenges and the partnerships of working with not only with the manager's office and the board of commissioners, but the fire departments in finding unique ways out of the box to do things. I'm a type person that says just because we've always done it that way doesn't necessarily make it the right way. Let's look for new ways and new opportunities to keep doing what we're doing to provide service to the citizens and make it better.
Daryl, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure chatting with you and learning more about fire services and emergency management within Wake County.
Thank you, Taylor. Look forward to coming back anytime.
Thank you.
Yep.
If you want to learn more about careers in fire services and emergency management, visit wake.gov/careers.
I work elections because it is a privilege and an honor to be a part of the process that helps shape our country and our future for our children.
I work elections because it makes me feel important to be involved in such a wonderful process in the United States.
I work for the Board of Elections because I love to give back to the community and help others.
I love elections because of the community aspect, seeing all your friends and neighbors.
I work election because I want to encourage other people like me who came from another country to serve this amazing country.
To learn more about how you can work elections, visit wake.gov/elections/get-involved.
Wake County's Office of Diversity, Equity, Inclusion began a series of lunch and learns. In June, for Pride Month, speakers from local nonprofits shared their stories. Here's a look at that event.
I chose to come because I wanted to support my fellow co-workers that work for Wake County that belong to the LGBTQ community, and I wanted to learn how to be better support and a better ally. I think it's important because it aims to promote acceptance and equality and raise awareness of issues in the community.
In order to love life, in order to honor life, you have to love and honor people. It's important because, I think of the song, and I'm taking us back to the old school, Love's Train. People all over the world, just join hands, and the world begins here in Wake County. Embrace the uniqueness and cultivate the uniqueness because that's what honors life.
What pride means to me is fearlessness, bravery, power, the power of community, the power of change. It's essential to be proud of not only supporting each other, proud of who we are, and being able to have spaces like this that people can be proud to say that I'm a part of this.
I learned how powerful that word pride really is, and now I know that it really represents a journey. When I think about the LGBTQ community and that long road that they had to take just to get to use that word, and now finally getting to a place where it's a source of celebration. I think it's important for Wake County to celebrate this community because when you love someone, it's a very personal thing. It's a personal connection. And only you can define who you love. And nothing else matters because in the end, love always wins.
The consistency of quality water coming into our facility is essential for helping us make the best products that we can. Water makes up 99% of beer, so it's extremely important. But more importantly, water quality is important to us. It's very important to us that the minerality, the pH, the turbidity of the water is all at a consistent level as a start basis for us to produce consistent products ourselves. We basically start with grain, blend it with water, bring it through the fermentation process, see it all the way to beer. But we discharge so much water because we are cleaning in addition to producing. A lot of our water goes down the drain. That's the reason that I make sure that I talk to people about the importance of water because that's my only plan for water. I can't make my own water, and the One Water plan hopefully is that plan to make sure that we've got a path forward.
That's all for this episode of Wake TV. Keep up with all the latest Wake County news by visiting us online at wake.gov/news. And be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube so you can always stay in the loop. We'll see you next time.